One of the best ways to start valuing yourself more is by setting and keeping boundaries, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today. And one of the worst things for your self-esteem is to not have any boundaries at all. In a romantic relationship, this can lead to feeling needy or feeling like you've been used and always feeling like the victim of your life or that life isn't fair. Having healthy boundaries is a really sexy quality because it directly relates to our self-confidence and our self-esteem. And having poor boundaries actually attracts other people who have poor boundaries as well. This can lead to a cycle of codependency and drama, and that's a whole nother video. Today, in this video, I really want to go into why boundaries are so important and how valuing yourself fits into setting healthy boundaries. Plus, at the end, I have action steps for you to actually put this stuff in action and to start improving your self-value, your self-esteem today. You're watching School of Modern Love. I'm Steph, bringing you weekly actionable lessons to help you learn to love deeply. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. And if this video resonates with you, give it a thumbs up. While you're watching, I'd love to hear from you. In the comments, write down one boundary that you have that you are really good at sticking to. We have different boundaries in different areas of our life, and so tell me one that you know you stick to and keep with, and tell us how you do it. This channel's all about learning, and so sharing this could help someone else learn to set better boundaries in their life. So before we jump into why boundaries matter, I just want to define what a boundary is first real quick here. A boundary is a perimeter, and the first thing that comes to my mind that I relate to is boundary in sports. So there's usually a playing field, like with football, there's a playing field and there is a boundary. And anytime the ball goes out of the playing field or it crosses the boundary, the game times out and there's a penalty for that team or the other team. But you play within the boundaries, within the perimeter of the boundaries. Similarly, in relationships, boundaries are the perimeters of or the limits of what we are willing to do and what we're not willing to do in that relationship. And when people or things cross a boundary, there's typically either a natural consequence or a consequence that we enforce. Having healthy boundaries involve taking responsibility for your own feelings and actions. People with poor boundaries struggle with this. So sometimes they take responsibility for other people's actions and their emotions, or they let other people take responsibility for their own feelings and their actions. It's interesting because people with poor boundaries often find each other and feed off of each other. And it just continues this cycle of drama, of codependency, of people taking responsibility for others' feelings or giving their responsibility of their feelings onto somebody else. Be sure to stick around to the end because I'll be sharing how you can start setting healthier boundaries and increasing your value today. Boundaries are super important and they are a direct reflection of your value and your self-worth. Boundaries tell other people how you want to be treated. Boundaries can help you empower yourself to take control of your life. Ultimately, boundaries are your self-worth in action. So what do I mean by that? Boundaries are your self-worth in action. So if you have a high level of self-worth and you put that into action, you're going to have healthy boundaries for yourself. It's when we have low self-worth or low self-esteem or we devalue ourselves, that's when we get in these habits and these patterns of really poor boundaries, not having them or taking responsibility for other people's. When you break down self-worth, it is understanding yourself. And once you understand and really know yourself and who you are, then you're able to accept yourself and who you are. Because you know who you are, you can then accept yourself. And when you could accept yourself, then you can start to love yourself and do things out of love for yourself. So those three things together create your self-worth. So if you don't know yourself, or you can't accept yourself, or you're not able to show your self-love, and those three things build on each other, then you're really not going to have a foundation for self-worth. And it's going to be really hard to have healthy boundaries if you don't know, like, and love yourself. So setting healthy boundaries and having a healthy sense of yourself go hand in hand, because as you're building your self-worth, you're also building better boundaries. And as you start building better boundaries, your self-worth is going to increase as well. And now let's get into this actionable tip that'll help you improve your self-worth and help you set better boundaries. Right now, I want you to take a look at your life, take a look at your relationships, and I want you to become aware of where in your relationships you're not taking responsibility, where you're not setting healthy boundaries. And remember, this can look two different ways. So the first would be you blaming or not taking responsibility and maybe blaming how you feel or what you've done on other people or other situations. And it could feel the other way, where you are taking too much responsibility from other people. And that can look like being controlling to other people, always having to check in, feeling like you need to protect someone else. So look at it from both ways. See if there's more of one or the other in your relationship. Okay, now that you've become aware maybe of a couple different instances in your life, I want you to pick one. I want you to focus just on one. And with this one situation that you have in your mind, when it comes up again, because it will come up again, these are patterned behaviors that we have, I want you to do the exact opposite. Oh yes, spoiler alert, it's not gonna feel good. Your brain is going to tell you, no, that's not how we get love. We have to do it this other way. It took you 20, 30 years, however old you are right now, it took you that long for this pattern to be ingrained in your brain. It's not going to change overnight. And part of your brain is going to go on alert and say, no, we have to do it the way we've always been doing it, because that's how we get love. But you're here right now and you know that's not healthy, and you want to work on becoming healthier in your relationships and to empower yourself. And part of that is not doing what we've always been doing. So I want you to consciously do the opposite. Okay, I'm gonna go over a couple of examples of what I mean by doing the opposite. If you catch yourself blaming other people for how you feel or for having to do certain things because people make you or they should you into doing something, nobody can make you do something, maybe unless they have a gun to your head, but most cases you don't. And nobody can make you feel a certain way. They'll do something and then you react to it and choose to feel a certain way, but there is a choice there. You always have a choice on what you do and how you feel. And so when we start blaming other people, this is the start of a poor boundary. So take responsibility for that and see how that feels. Try it on. See how it feels when you do take responsibility, when you notice that you're blaming, and then tell yourself, blame it on yourself, and see how that feels. Another example would be you getting jealous of your partner and their relationship with a friend. And so the opposite of that would be, instead of feeling jealous, we could feel happy or content with their relationship. And also, what else does that bring up? Maybe, why are you having these feelings of jealousy? I have a whole video on jealousy and how to deal with jealousy next week. So when that comes out, I'll make sure to link it in the description. But subscribe and make sure you get that one too if jealousy is something that you deal with. The last example here is always feeling like you need to touch base or talk to your partner, always texting, always wanting an immediate reply from them. I know this one personally. If that's your poor boundary, try doing the opposite and not reaching out, not texting that person for a whole day and see how you feel. It will feel uncomfortable. All of these will feel uncomfortable because you're trying something new. When you try something new, that is the place of where growth happens. So see how you feel. Sit with the uncomfortableness of it and maybe figure out where that comes from. Why are you so anxious about needing to have that immediate response from that person? I highly suggest writing down your thoughts and feelings when you're doing this process. It will help your brain, like the logical part of your brain, it'll help it so much to connect the dots for you and help you make sense of what's going on inside of you. Healthy boundaries is something we are all working on. There's no healthy boundary destination. It's a journey that we're constantly working on. Things are always shifting and changing in our relationships, in our life, and there's this like delicate balance of being in a healthy relationship and keeping those healthy boundaries. So keep working with this over time. As you start to rewire your brain or unwire it from the unhealthy boundaries and start creating new healthy boundaries, you're going to start feeling good. You're going to start standing taller and have more self-confidence. This will also empower you to take control of your life because you're taking control of the responsibility and of everything in your life. Healthy boundaries do take time, but I hope if you put this in action today, think about just one thing. Just focus on one thing at a time. If you focus on that today and every day, each day you'll just get a little bit more of that self-esteem and a little bit healthier boundaries. Over time, it will feel so much better and it will get easier. Be sure to subscribe to get notified of the new weekly videos and give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye.